So we've all heard the term, let's agree to disagree, but that's really hard. I've been learning, seeing it in myself that it's not an easy thing to do. Just the other day, I was having a conversation with someone where we disagreed on something, and I could feel myself getting tight and closing off and wanting to run away and seeing them as the enemy and completely shutting down. But I was able, since I was sitting having breakfast with them, I wanted to finish my breakfast. So I came back to my heart. I was feeling those feelings, and I was like, no, I want to stay connected. I don't want to see this person as an enemy. I don't want to close off and shut down. And so being able to come back to that determination, that commitment to stay connected, really helped my heart stay open and to continue to engage in dialogue and discussing things. And it actually turned out to be very good. Right now, I don't even remember what we were disagreeing about with, but it was the experience of that commitment to stay connected and to not let it create a division that was so powerful. And it was, I think a key part of that was I was taking it personally. I was feeling attacked. I was feeling threatened. And that's so easy to happen. I think I can feel threatened and attacked about any tiny little thing. But it's also questioning myself of like, am I really threatened? Is this a dangerous situation? Do I need to feel like this person is really attacking me? No, I don't. That it's just because we have a different view and a different opinion doesn't mean that my life is in danger or my being of who I am is in danger. But it was powerful to see how quickly that response happened over some tiny little conversation and differences. And so knowing that it's staying clear on that, maintaining that connection and knowing that it's not personal, I think are two key things to really, for myself, to keep remembering. Marshall Rosenberg, who I love and cite pretty much every BBC I talk, he really emphasizes that importance of seeing that connection, maintaining that connection with the other person, and recognizing that we all have similar needs and similar values, and just how vital that is to have that connection and that wanting to continue to see the other person, as a human being, not as an enemy or a threat, and how vital that is to resolving any kind of dispute, whether it's minor or major. That's the key element, is really seeing the other person as a person and much more similar than different. Recently, I've heard the term of a need being having a shared view of reality. And I was kind of puzzled by this because, I don't know, I think my view of reality is different than pretty much everybody else's as far as how I interpret things and my story from history and all my preconditioning things, that we all have a different view of reality. And so that can kind of be, I guess, a dangerous expectation. To have a shared view of reality means we agree on everything. We have this understanding of, in my mind, it can also be a way of saying shared view of reality means that you agree with everything that I think is right and my views and opinions. And so while we want to recognize that we have shared ways of being, especially here at the Abbey and stuff, certain shared expectations and ways of doing things, that can be a slippery slope, I guess, for having expectations of everybody thinks the way that I think. And that's not really a realistic expectation. Because, that's kind of the beauty, is that we do have differences, and that's what makes things so rich, is that we can see things from different perspectives. When I studied abroad in South Africa, and it was kind of neat that South Africa has the largest population of Indian people living in South Africa outside of India. And so I really got to know not only the South African culture, but a lot of the Indian culture. And they really embraced their diversity. And also in Ethiopia, that country had over 80 languages and 80 different cultural groups within Ethiopia. And they really, because they also had a history of a lot of violence and fighting and war, there was a president for a time that was really good in uniting the country And on their TV, they always were talking about, we are a rainbow nation, supporting diversity, supporting these differences. And everybody was proud in really recognizing that, like, yes, we have these differences, but that's beautiful. And it was so, I think, important to really keep emphasizing that we have different views, we have different ways of living or talking or eating, but that makes us richer and stronger. We don't all have to be the same. We don't all have to agree on things. And to really, emphasize that as being much more important than our differences. And I mean, I love our prayer that we say at the end of offering service, or beginning offering service, of differences in ideas and ways of doing things may arise. I always say will arise, because that's pretty much differences in ways of doing things are going to arise. That's just how life is. But it's a natural and a source of creative exchange. Our minds don't need to make them into conflict. And that's so beautiful and powerful to remember, that it's creative exchange, and it's these dialogues and being able to discuss things, different opinions and different ways of doing things, that make things so rich and important, to really celebrate and see that as an opportunity to grow, and not as a threat to my identity or my way of being or my opinions. And so these are just some things I've been chewing on, because I see how important it is, not just at a community level, but a national and global level, to really continue to lean into when we have differences of views, and be curious and want to understand and to share those perspectives, not feeling threatened or feeling like I have to be right, but to really want to stay connected and to learn and to grow with each other, because that's the best way we can really understand how things truly exist. They're very, very diverse, and that's the best way we can stay connected and live on this planet in a peaceful, kind, compassionate way.